where we get to do a little bit deeper work. And, oops, where we get to do a little bit deeper work with some of the practices that we've already done. In the beginning, days 1 through 10, we did some opening up to shake up our foundation. And then in the 20s, we went and did some deliberate activities to kind of shake up how we think about the world and what the environment is, the support of our environment, and how we look at the world a little bit. Then the next 30 days were more about becoming into the body and what it feels like to be in the body, physical activity, thanking our body, building a relationship with it. And now is a beautiful day because after we have established a physical routine, we're now a little bit more familiar with what it's like to hold accountability for ourselves, right? We gave ourselves the ability to modify our routine for a couple days, witness what it's like for obstacles to show up, whether that's ways of thinking or old behaviors or ways that we draw situations to us in our life. And as we explore these spaces, they can be kind of uncomfortable, but as we navigate through them, the clarity that we gain really lights us up about our ability to function in the world. And as we've gone through and just made these little steps, these little small steps of forward projection, forward momentum, we can see that as we just make that 1% transition, that as it adds up to 30 days of 30% transition, and then we go even more, and it just continues to add up to where the progression that we're making into a new us, into transformation, becomes easy. And we get familiar with, like, wow, yeah, it might be a whirlwind of moving things around, but the only reason why I suffer is because I hold to the belief that that stability was supporting me. Right? And so you may come across now at this point that you have patterns of old behaviors or whatnot that really are ingrained, and that's okay to have those. It's okay, because unless we are able to feel the thing, to feel what's going on, we can't work with it to change it, right? And as you're working forward, you are changing these patterns in the physical world. And so because you're doing that, just engaging in building new neural pathways, you are disempowering those old programmings. It might feel dysregulating when you do it, though. And as we go through, again, the power of being able to know that you are supported with just moving for 1% a day. Just this little tick every single day is beautiful, and it just takes a little bit of presence of every day. 20 minutes of every day just to do an exercise or so, maybe a half an hour, and you're golden, right? You've done some progress. And if we do need a break or something like that, the cool thing about this challenge is that you can totally take a break for 1 day, 2 days, 3, whatever is really comfortable to you, but just catch up, okay? Do them at your own pace. Sometimes we may learn about the integration process from a different exercise a few days later, and to have that ability to reflect and be mobile within our journey is really powerful. So we come to today after writing a gratitude letter to ourselves, and then also who do we want to be for the next or in the next 30 and 60 days? Like what do we think we're going to change? What's going to change up? What's going to move around? Is it a realistic goal? Is it something that we are actually working toward? A lot of times we may think we're doing one thing, but our actions dictate another thing. So that's a little bit of presence for, a little bit of exploration for some of the practices that we did before, and a little bit of hint for what we're going to do in the future. But today, we get to focus in, and this is so exciting. We get to focus in and do another body scan, a super simple one. This time, what we're doing is building up the ability to feel what it's like to release perceptions about who we are, or hurts, or whatever it would be, that don't serve us, that really do hold us back. So this is an actual assignment that I would give somebody in a coaching lesson to do something of this nature, okay? This can be a very intimate experience for you, and so I encourage you to write about it to the best of your ability. Sometimes when we experience these feelings, we don't have words for them, and that's literally because the experiential part, the feeling part of our brain, is a little farther away from where we store the ability to form words. So when you're thinking of something, trying to recall like, oh, it feels like this, and it's difficult, it's because you haven't really built a lot of connections to that part of the brain. To describe what you're experiencing on the emotional level. The more that you delve into this, the greater your ability is to do this over time. We're probably never going to be completely like 100% proficient in this because of the actual body has a limitation in that, like the areas are separate. Unless you completely change the morphology of your brain, we're probably not going to get there. But that's perfect because we are humans in a body, and this is our experience for today. So today, fun. We get to do a body scan, and as we're going through, we're going to be releasing at every single point of awareness that we get to. And we're allowing a different sensation or an outside stimulus to dictate where that sensation, where our awareness is drawn to the sensation. What I mean by that is you could use like a scarf or something like that, maybe a blanket or a towel, but you want it to be longer and thin. So a scarf rolled up or something is appropriate. Or something that works even better is if you can take a shower or have running water over you. Okay. If you're really into an ice bucket challenge, go ahead and do that. You don't have to. I like the warm water, but when we're letting an outside physical perception or physical thing allow us to perceive where we are on our bodies, such as, when we're breathing and we're meditating, or when we're breathing, we bring awareness to our clothing. We can feel like, oh, I'm wearing a shirt, right? But we can do that with myriads of things. And as we're wearing this shirt, we gain this perspective of a large area of our body. And so you could do this with a shirt, but it's nice to go into smaller steps, right? We're doing a body scan, not a body copy. I don't know. Copies, bad joke, whatever. So as we feel something is over us, we're focusing on what that feels like, and we'll have opinions about that space. As it goes down, we'll have opinions about that space of us, so that physical form of where we are. And so I'm just demonstrating like a scarf moving down, right? And so it's just kind of dissecting us slowly, and we're moving down. And as we do this, we have perceptions of the physicalness of who we are. And when we focus into those, we give the ability for those perceptions to rise up into our consciousness. So we're opening up a loving space for us to understand how we perceive our bodies, what we think about them, what we feel about them. Is it inspiring or not, right? There's certain different ways of looking at this. Is it inspiring or disparaging? Is it, what did I say? Inspiring? Is it inspiring or disparaging? And these are perceptual states. More on this in just a second. So when we go into that and we're just being in the observational mode of feeling, only feeling at this point, feeling what's under this piece of cloth, or what's allowing us to bring perception to this spot. We're feeling it, we're identifying what our perception is, how we feel about it, and then we are saying, I love you, or we're saying release. When we feel that, and maybe we can feel tension or something, and we can actively go release, and we can visualize and picture stuck energy, density, judgment, whatever it would be, oozing or leaving the body from that space. Okay, and when it leaves the body from that space, we are constantly saying, I love you. We are saying, I appreciate you. You can modify that little saying, that mantra, to whatever is appropriate for you. The idea is to use healing verbiage, okay, truth verbiage, and I'll come to that in a second again. So So as I'm going through this and I have an opinion about this section of my body, I'm identifying with it. I'm allowing the opinions to come up into my mind because I'm focusing my awareness on the physical presence right here. So I'm melding my mind, my emotions, and my body in this moment. Then we are going up and we are going up into the higher space, a higher frequency, bringing down what would be the view of our higher self, so to speak, and I'll talk about that in a second. And we are going to say, I love you, and as we do that, we are watching or feeling change happen. We're revealing the truth about things. We're allowing anything that doesn't serve us to come through and out. The process of this is called release or identification or truthing, whatever you want to call that. It's also called healing. So it's a personal exercise to heal. If you do this with water, this is why I prefer water, especially if you have the ability to pour water on you or over a certain area of you. Like if you have a nozzle with a hose and stuff, you can, or you might just turn in the shower, whatever it would be, turn on different jets and stuff like that. Maybe you can get a different localized feeling like this instead of just a band. But you take the water and you allow it to fall and hit you. It's almost a little bit like the EFT tapping, the emotional tapping, and you're going to allow it to hit you. And in that spot, it kind of creates a very calming sensation, right? And this also has to do with the heat too. So it might be beneficial if you're using a cloth to heat up the cloth. If it doesn't destroy it, to do so. Don't do that to a silk garment or something, or a silk scarf or something. That would be bad. Just cotton or whatever. But so we're allowing the water to fall on us in a spot. And as you do it, you can let it move down you. And you can do this with a cloth too. If you want to go and move it to a different spot, move it down slowly. And you do this repeatedly, multiple times. So you move it down you, and as you feel tension, or you can just recognize looking for tension, you can go, release, release. And as you do that, it releases out of you, and you can feel the expansion happening. And it's an internal expansion. It's an opening of space. It's like you're taking out the density, and so it creates a negative pressure in you that causes expansion, right? And this is what we are documenting, is the release of this perception or feeling into this experience, and we are allowing the connection to a higher self perspective to come through to alleviate what that would be, the untruth of that. And what I mean by this, with this higher self perspective, has to do with perceptions and how we perceive. Perceptions and, I used a specific term, my bad, I apologize. Perspectives and perceptions, yes. So, in the space of I am perceiving something, that I have a certain perspective about it. And I often will talk to clients about this and about how we perceive the world. And it has to do with a frequency that we're vibing at. And when I talk about going into the higher self, or this higher vibrational frequency, where you can bring in a more trueness of your knowledge, of trueness of who you're being, this requires us to let go, or at least open up to the possibilities of being able to perceive the world around us in a different way. What I mean by this, and I'll give a perfect example. I will just I'll do a color example for you. So I keep this little affirmation. It says, follow intuition even if it doesn't make sense, right on my wall. So using this little pink piece of paper. Pink, we have an understanding of connotation of like attention, grabbing, and some of us have a different opinion based on the programming of our life experiences. And this is what the perception is that gives you the perspective that you have. So you see a pink note card right here. Now look at the yellow one. Pink and yellow. These both will elicit different emotions within you. They will inspire you or cause a certain state of being, and let's say it that way. What I mean by this is, so we have a pink here. This is not technically Pepto-Bismol pink, but let's say you've had a really bad experience and you had a really intense state of dis-ease, and maybe you had a flu or something like that, and you had to take some Pepto-Bismol, and then you had a negative reaction, and you were able to see the Pepto-Bismol before it was in the bottle, or when it was in the bottle and when it wasn't in the bottle, if you know what I mean. And you might look at pink and after that point and go, this is not cool. I don't like this color. It elicits an emotional response within me. That is a perception, and it gives you a perspective. The perspective is how you're feeling in the moment, and the perception is the programming that causes that. Okay, it has to do with your vibrational state, much like this yellow one. So some of us, we can notice this this yellow one. Just a different example being that yellow is more of a calming color, same with green, much more of a calming color and accepting color. So we can look at the perceptions that we have in another way, and this is a super easy way to look at this, is what colors do you enjoy wearing? And the general thing is that because you have a perspective, that those colors will bring you a certain state of being. That's why you wear them. So I have I'll give you another example that's not colors. There are the seed pods of, and I don't remember what tree it specifically is. It looks like a catalpa, but I don't believe it is that one. They have a certain scent about them. They're these long pods, and I did have an experience when I was very young of getting the flu. And that same day, I was out, I don't know if it was like after school activities or whatever it was, but I was like coming down with it at like during those activities, but we were playing with these seed pods, and I was like having a great time, like collecting them and all these other things. And after I felt really sick, my experience through that day gave me the perspective that those seed pods induce sickness. They don't make me feel good. I have a different perspective about that. And now when I come in contact with those, I often have to be like, oh, that's just a belief that it doesn't ring true, because it's based off of a negative experience like that. You would say it's a correlative experience, but it doesn't have a causation experience, right? Correlative meaning this looks like what's going on, but the causation is actually what's happening. There's no causation for this seed pod to make me feel sick for 2 days and to make me throw up and etc. And it wasn't poisonous or anything, so there you go. But when we come into the perspective of our bodies and our opinions and perceptions of our bodies, the truth of our being comes from our higher self and what comes through. Because when we enter into the state of non-judgment, of acceptance, of inspiration beyond limitation, we begin to flow into the space of truth. And when we do this body scan, there's this perception that we are wearing a mask, and oftentimes we're wearing a mask for ourselves. And when we can let the mask go is when we enter into the truth of things, and we move from the state of being affected by our environment and feeling suffering within our environment because of that into an internal state of choice, and then we no longer suffer. Okay, we don't think that the outside, how do I say this? We understand that the outside world is causing us to suffer, and so we have to switch our perspective and take ownership of the perspective and bring healing to it in order to not suffer, okay? To take this perception from an outside thing to an internal perception. And when we're lying about things, we're not doing that. A lot of lies or masks that we might be putting on from a daily basis might be like, I'm more physically fit than I am, or I'm more unhealthy than I am, or I have the ability to do this when I'm lying to myself, and I may not be as proficient as I think I am. And so because we do this, and I drew a card for this from the Oracle of the Seven Energies deck. Love this deck. I grabbed Close Encounters. You can see that. Let's see. There's really not a lot of glare, so that's good. Close Encounters. Just take a look at it. This butterfly is being uncaged. And when we take off a mask, we allow ourselves to be witnessed more wholly, more truthfully, first from ourselves, and we allow other people to do the same thing. when we are engaged with the mask, we're actually engaging in life, and we're attracting relationships, events, situations, and whatnot that are, how do I say this? They cultivate the environment of the mask. They don't cultivate a true environment of our higher self, of who we be. And we will notice this because we will often feel and engage in behaviors that diminish who we are. Meaning, I wrote the most beautiful description of this down earlier. Oh, well, I won't look at that. Meaning, instead of thinking we are capable, we think that we're incapable of it. Instead of thinking that we have a lot of time, we think we don't have a lot of time. We become stressed. We become agitated. We look at life in a different way. We look at it as if we're in competition and we're not in collaboration with it. So there's a lot of evidence because of the ways of thinking that we have when we are engaged with a mask. When this mask isn't able to represent our true higher self. And by the truer higher self, when we release the mask, we go through the ability to be seen as we truly are. And by doing that, we give the world the ability to show us who we are, how we're acting, what services we provide, how magnificent our life is, what we're here to do, a whole bunch of other things that create inspiration and joy in our lives. It creates exploration and a whole bunch of stuff. So when we shift that perspective and realize that, oh, my thinking right now, because we don't have to believe everything that we come up with, every thought that we think, we just do know that those thoughts are created by the programming that we have in the moment. And if we are working to redefine that, especially if those thoughts are diminishing, saying like maybe you have 50 things on your list today, but you don't feel capable of doing it, you're not in your higher self. You're wearing a mask in this moment because you completely are capable. There just may need to be some truths of the moment that have to get revealed. Okay, how you got here, maybe that you were hiding it from yourself. And once you have an understanding of oh, this is my real ability, and it's an internal experience, you can take that and apply it outward, and then you feel accomplished. You feel motivated. What else? You become inspired, creative. I already used those words, but it's worth repeating. And so this exercise is designed to help you understand what kind of perception you have. If you're operating from a different perception, such as a truer version of yourself, when you see yourself, you are not going to be, what is the word? You are not going to be diminished. You're not going to be disempowered. You won't be distracted. The truth of yourself is harmony, and it's Aini, and it means that you love yourself and you're there. You understand that all of the things about you are rife with wisdom. It is rife with wisdom. It is ready to come out with your experiences. And as we drop the masks of our experience of who we are, we allow ourselves to become more intimate with other people too. And as we do that, there's knowledge and experience and wisdom to be gained from that. And that's what leads us to understanding who our higher self is. So as we engage in these truth activities, we reveal a closer understanding of who we are in the world. And that is an internal experience that guaranteed to give you inner confidence, a boost of a pep in your step. You will notice that maybe relationships, events, or situations, whatever it would be in your life, might start to change too as you drop your masks, because you're no longer creating a life that supports your mask. So it will drop, and everything that has supported your mask will drop as well. Boom, huge exercise today. Thank you for sticking through this video. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Tonight, I haven't checked to see if anybody signed up for it today, but tonight is the online meditation. If you are interested in doing so, it's from 6 to 7. You can just go to goodelephant.com, go to the online classes, look for my class, Compassionate Mindful Meditation, an online expansion of our love. And you will meet me there, and I can help guide a meditation for us, or we can do some more work one-on-one, depending on what the container holds. You know, if there's fewer people, then you get more airtime. And that is simply it's $10 prana pay. Nobody is turned away ever. I'm always here for your support, and I fully believe in engaging in the universe in that way. So go ahead and reach out to me if you have any questions. Facebook Messenger. My information's on my website, and it's also on Facebook. If you need to text me, give me a call for a clarity call or an exploration call. And what else? Oh, the Friday meditation for in-person. If you are not able to join us in person, the Wednesday one is the one for you. But if you are able to join us in person, that is a very big experience. 2 hours over at Earthy Energy where we get to do practice of meditation, where we explore different parts of ourselves and how meditation reveals the truth of things to us and allows us to be free from suffering and the cause of suffering, because technically we're meditating 24/7, not just in these little intervals that we think we are. So that being said, congratulations for making it this far. Go about your day. Engage in that self-care. This is technically a self-care ritual. And write about your experience. Share this video. Comment. The instructions are within the video. I'm pointing to my computer, of course, right there. The instructions are within the video. Just to go ahead and share it. Document your observations. Using the hashtags, that's right, using hashtags 90-Day Happiness Challenge and Matthew Embrey-McClain, Shamanic Happiness Coach. So, without further ado, go about your day, be wonderful, enjoy the rest of your lunch, whatever it is you're doing. I say namaste, and I will love you later. Okay, have a great day.